Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar, What's New in Totara 20. So the session will run for about an hour. We'll spend roughly 45 minutes talking about the highlights of Totara 20, and then we'll leave some time for Q&As. Feel free to drop any questions in the Q&A section. We'll address it live or as we go or at the end of the session in the Q&A period. The session is recorded, so it'll be available later on through our different channels. Just wait a minute, see if we can have some more people catch us. All right, so it's 9:02, almost 9:03. I'm gonna start here, and it'll be recorded, so if anybody comes in late, they can always see it later in the recording. Okay, so we're Markanyx, and as I said, we will be starting the What's New in Totara 20 webinar. And before we get to the meat and potato of it, I want to start with the land acknowledgement. As a Canadian company headquartered in Edmonton, we respectfully acknowledge that we are located on Treaty 6 territory. It's the traditional land of diverse Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Dene, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Anishinaabe, Inuit, and many others whose histories, cultures, and languages continue to influence and enrich us. So who are we? We're a one-stop shop company specializing in digital transformation through web solutions and learning management systems for corporations, regulatory bodies, and NGOs. Our mission is to deliver seamless digital transformation through the design and development of learning platforms for training, learning, and certification. We try to do that by personalizing the experience, having a secure platform, and ensuring the best possible experience for our customers. We've been around for over a decade. We have clients and partners through 5 continents, and we've reached over 1 million users throughout the years and the platforms we have. So that's for those who don't know us or who are joining us for the first time. We work closely with organizations using Totara to support learning, performance, and compliance. And we try to cover all parts of the LMS implementation, from design to hosting, development, integration, course content, and ongoing support. Now, if you don't know Totara or you're not familiar with it, it is a fully customizable platform that enables enterprise organizations to train their workforce, improve employee engagement and performance, and satisfy compliance. It combines LMS-rich features, a social learning experience, and a performance management module. So why Totara? It's used widely all over the world, over 21 million users, over 53 countries, and in more than 36 languages. Totara allows organizations to minimize costs and maximize efficiency through automated workflows, synchronizing with human resource information systems. It also enhances training and retaining of staff and upskilling them. It also engages learners with personalized workflows and social learning methodologies. So in a nutshell, Totara is flexible. It has trust and credibility with millions of users worldwide, very comprehensive functions and functionalities, highly configurable and scalable, small organizations to organizations with thousands of users or employees, very integratable or a high chance of integrating with different software through APIs, web services, and other means. It is cost effective. It actually helps with return on investment by retaining staff, by upskilling, and by ensuring compliance. It is also customizable, as you mentioned, so it can integrate with different systems, and then it's not a one-size-fits-all, and you just have to work with it to really make sure that it's meeting all your requirements. Who is it for? So there is no limit. Realistically, you can work in you can be in any industry and still use Totara. So these are real examples of different industries: retail, nonprofit, manufacturing, healthcare, etc. So I'm sure you can recognize some of the logos. Product delivery pathways. So why are we talking about this? So in the past year or so, there was essentially a different way of releasing versions. So before we used to have a major version every year. Now we have a major version every year still, which is the long-term support pathway. And then we have the progressive pathway, which means in the 1 year, you will have minor releases, like we had 19.1 last year. So this year we'll have 20.1, 20.2, 20.3. And if you don't want to upgrade to the minor releases, that is totally fine. You can stay on the LTS, and then when you migrate to the major version in the following year, you will have all these minor upgrades and the features that are included in them all together in the major upgrade. So why am I talking about this? Because you may see some features here that you think, oh, this is already available in the current version. In fact, it might be in version 19.1, which was released in July 2025, but not everything was in that version. So we will see some of the features that are overlapping, but in any installation that's migrating from version 19 to version 20, everything we'll talk about today will be relevant and will be new. So without further ado, what is new? So we'll start with something very visual and very simple, and then we'll increase in difficulty or complexity. The first thing is about the catalogs. So the catalog has a couple of new features, cool features. The first one is excluding courses from the catalog. So this can be particularly useful for supporting internal use courses or archived courses. So a lot of organizations have courses that ran a few years ago. They don't want to delete them. They want to keep them for auditing purposes or for record-keeping purposes. So they archive them, but they don't want them to still be visible on the catalog. So they can go to the settings and exclude them for the catalog. So that way they're only visible to admins and they won't appear when users search for them. It's important to note that this does not block enrollment. On the other hand, it helps streamline the learner experience by only presenting the most relevant courses in the catalog. So it simplifies the administrative workflow. And it won't appear in the search. It won't appear in the listing of the catalog. It is accessible if the learner is already enrolled in the course, or it is accessible if the course is part of a certificate or program where the learners are already enrolled in. It is also accessible if the learner has been given the direct URL to the course. And you can still report on it to get any data that is relevant for the for any manager or administrator that's running reports. Now, it's important to note that if your objective is to prevent access to the course, there are better ways and other ways to do it, either through managing the course enrollment settings or the course settings and hiding the course completely. So only administrators can view it. Now, the other feature is the spell check suggestions API. So the spell check suggester is not on by default. It has to be enabled on the infrastructure level because it's a PHP setting. So your administrator or IT administrator has to either enable it or work with your host to enable it. So in this case, that would be us as your partner. And then the other thing is, if there's a different spell check suggester that you require, not the one by default enabled in Totara, then you can work with us, your partner, to implement it on the code level or on the programming level, and then it'll be available for you. So what this means is, if you're searching something in the search bar, you could get suggestions on spell check. So if you have a typo, then the spell check will suggest that you fix that typo. And so that enhances the user experience, especially if you have difficulty typing the right word. Now, a few other features I want to talk about. First, the wildcard search and the improved partial word search. So one of the good things here is that you will not see no results found just because you type part of a word. So this is how it used to be before. You had to get the exact word. Right now we have the full text search option, which offers 3 different ways of searching or finding what you're looking for. The first one is, if you set the setting to never, then you only the exact word match will be returned. If you are looking for setting the setting to always, then partial word matching is always applied. It may impact the performance on very large catalogs because it's running through a lot of items, but in most average setups, it shouldn't be an issue. And you could also have the setting to only when no results are found. So the system retries the search using partial matching if no exact matches are found. So in the image you can see here, I have think and star. So the star is the wildcard, basically. So we see things that are returned like critical thinking, but we also have how to think strategically. So this is partial and exact word. And then you also see courses that don't necessarily have anything in them. So this means that it is looking through other fields in the course. So that's also another way of enhancing the search. And of course, you always have the filter and the category and the relevance. So that's how you could improve the search through the catalog. The cool other features you have here is a search. So you can search, the share. So you can run a search and then share this exact result of the search with somebody by sharing this link with them. And then this is a suggestion I was referring to earlier. So I could have typed something with a type 1, then it would have suggested something else. And this is cool when you don't know what you're looking for exactly, or you have an idea about what you're looking for, but not exact full course name. So this helps a lot. So this is when it comes to the catalog. Now we'll move to one of the very important features and iconic features of Totara, the programs and the certification updates. So first of all, now we have the ability to self-enroll and self-withdraw from programs and certifications. So this was actually one of the top voted features in the feature board. There is a blog called Personalized Recommendations. It suggests courses you might be interested in. So now this also can suggest programs and certification. Combined with the first item here, since you can self-enroll in courses, programs, and certifications, overall the flow is much smoother and self-guided. You get courses, programs, and certification recommended to you based on your current learning. And you can directly self-enroll if that option is enabled, of course, and you can start learning right away. If you don't like it, you can self-withdraw because that's available too. Now, the other important features here that we should stop at is the recertification sequences. So, sorry. The certifications are getting a whole new configuration approach. We have multiple paths. So supporting multiple paths means allowing admins to design training and recertification sequences with a single certification instead of having to duplicate the certification like we had to do before version 20. So this significantly lowers the overhead and the management and or the risks that came with duplicating a certification and not knowing which one we're dealing with and having to invent names if you are using the certification for many years. So very helpful here. The other part is the re-certification options. So learners no longer need to restart from scratch. You can define which levels or modules need to be retaken. So this also helps with reinstatement controls. So if a learner misses a recertification deadline, you can choose what happens next. So you can stay on the current path, which means the learner continues where they left off, or you can go back to the initial path, which means they start from the beginning. So the default, basically. Or you could choose a specific path. So you can reassign a defined refreshed path or an alternative sequence. So this really helps you with simplifying compliance and being more smooth and more flexible with certain situations, especially if you have users who miss the recertification or the compliance date by 1 day, and then you get a lot of calls and you have to deal with these situations. Now this is better managed and less stress on the users, the learners, and the manager. So this is very also helpful. The loop we see here, we'll see it in detail on the next slide, but it really simplifies things. So this comes part of the UX UI improvements, and it helps on reporting and the updates of the certification and the certification paths in general. So moving forward, we can see that if we look into one of the certifications here, we have two labels: the progress, which allows us to see where we're at. So here we're at 15%, and we have a due date, and we have a first set of courses, and then we have another set. And the second label is requirements. So if you click on requirements, then we see the loop that we were looking at earlier, and it has three levels basically. So the first is the learning path for valid for 1 year, and then the second one is basically the recertification. So that's valid for 18 months. And the recertification, which is the third level, is valid for 2 years. Now, we can move forward to delve into the settings of this certification, and then we can see that we have more labels here to look at. So we have the details, the requirements, assignments, notifications, and completion. And if we drill down into one of the certification or learning paths here, before we actually go into any submenu, we have the ability to move it up or down, which means if you decide to change the layout of your certification down the road, you can always do this. You can duplicate it for adding more levels into one certification or more paths. And then you could also view path, which will show you in detail the different sets and requirements of the certification level. So in this one, the first one is learning path. So this is when you get the certification for the first time. It shows you the frequency, it shows you the certification or the recertification window. And then it shows you the course set number 1, course set number 2. In this case, we have only 2 sets, and we have to go through set 1, then set 2. We could have more sets if we needed or wanted to, and we could have set 1 or set 2. We could have set 1 and set 2. In that case, the learner can take the courses in any order. They don't have to finish these and then go with set 2. You could also give the learner options to take some mandatory courses and choose between other optional courses. So there's a lot of flexibility here on how to design your certification. I think the important part we should mention here is that the best or the most efficient way to handle this is to set it up first on a pen and paper or discuss with your team what's the best way to look at it and then implement it. So better than start implementing a certification and then changing things, which could apply with the whole LMS implementation in general. So another label here, if we click on notifications, then we can see the list of notifications that are available by default. And they can be at the certification level or on the level of each certification path. So you could have notifications for the recertification branch or the refresher branch, however you want to call it. So that's essentially what we wanted to cover for the certifications and programs. If you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A, and we can look at them at the end of the presentation. Now, the dashboard is, of course, used by every user, which is why this version did not ignore it. So essentially, you'll have minor UX UI updates and accessibility improvements. And I didn't mention this at the beginning, but this version is not focused on radical changes or radical features. It's really many small improvements that overall improve the usability, the user experience significantly for administrators, managers, and learners. So what we're looking at here is essentially an improved spacing, styling, and featured links, also accessibility or accessible friendly color contrasting. So honestly, not huge changes on their own, but together they just improve the user experience. We also have a dashboard report. So if you're using Totara, you know that having many dashboards can sometimes be cumbersome to manage. And for administrators and for managers, it's difficult. So having a report that shows you all the dashboards, how are they being used, and which audience is using them, or whom are they being used by, that helps you, keep track of the dashboard, maybe delete the dashboard, improve it if it's not being used. Why is it not being used? So that's now available, and you can rely on it. The other thing is you can quickly set a display order for the dashboards when you're creating them or editing them, and you don't have to move them each dashboard at a time. So that helps you save time, and it's better for the whole user experience, and makes it easier on the administrator. So if there are any administrator out there, you'll be happy to have this feature on. And of course, you always have the ability to filter and search to find the dashboards more efficiently. Now, you can't talk about dashboards and not talk about blocks. So the version 20 comes with a certification compliance reporting block out of the box. So no need to build or create a custom report. This is the report that you can just use as is, because it's already there. It has the analytics, and it has the graph or the chart. It's just exactly what you need. It helps you really understand which teams or individuals within your organization are up to speed, if there are any areas that need more attention, or improving the accountability and response time overall. Oops, what did I do? Okay, so we can drill down on hierarchy and teams, as I mentioned, and you can also select users and see where they're at. So this is the compliance report. It also shows you who's compliant versus not compliant, and you can see the target line here. So you can see that on the first one we have compliance, but on the following four certification, we're falling out of compliance. So these are things that we need to look at as manager or as somebody who's responsible for compliance in this organization. So this is something you could set in the settings of the block. So this is a clearer image, and you can see here that we have the overall compliance and then overall non-compliance and the compliance target. So we're very far there. So we have to do more. We have maybe to drill down into each certification and see where we are failing, if our users or learners need more support. So this is the tool to help manager see what's going on and where to take action. Now, moving on to another item, which is the seminar. So the self-attendance option, this is one of the most exciting features that was also on the feature board, and where there were a lot of votes. So you can now have your learners take self-attendance. So that makes things easier on the administrators, honestly. And you could do it two ways. One, through sharing a URL with them, and the other one with generating a QR code. And that allows them to also take the sign for the attendance later on. It works anywhere because the QR code, you can just scan it, print it, and then paste it on the wall, on the door, wherever you have the meeting, if it's an offline meeting, and then people can scan it. It really scales easily. It's helpful for large groups, and people, you can just have them do the self-attendance instead of as an administrator or a facilitator looking for roll calls and calling people and making sure that they are there. It reduces the admin error because people who scan the code or access the link are doing it with their profile. So we know exactly who's being in attendance. And you have the ability also to override it as a trainer or as an administrator in case of mistakes or people who forgot to self-attend, or who self-attended but did not actually attend in reality. So you can fix that as an administrator. Audiences. So audiences are a huge thing in Totara, and they allow you to set a group of people together either manually or with dynamic rule sets. So one of the very helpful features in this version is that you have now the preview and validate audience member changes before confirming. So you can see here, we have confirm, preview, and cancel. So what we see, this slide out here on the side, is the preview if we apply the changes we're looking at. And this essentially helps you reducing any guesswork. It improves safety, and it makes the audience management really more intuitive, reliable, and less risky. So the preview table, as you can see here, shows shows a table of members that's in the slide out panel, and we can see how many users will be affected, how they will be affected if they are removed or added. In this case, they're all going to be removed. And you can also filter, and we can filter by removed or unchanged or all. Here we can filter by added, but we don't have anything that's added. And we can regenerate. So it's really helpful to take this step before changing rule sets. So it just increases security and reliability. So administrators can now make these changes safely and see the impact instantly before actually applying it, to avoid any costly mistakes and ensure everything is above board. So one of the other cool features, actually, I forgot to click, is, let's see, proficiency in competency. So I was saying you can now build dynamic audiences based on whether someone is proficient or not yet proficient in a specific competency. So this is actually a feature that we at Markanyx actively advocated for based on real client needs, and we're generally proud and happy to see it included in this release. This enables a much tighter connection between the performance module that handles the competencies and skills with the learning delivery and the learning module through audiences. So it allows you to automatically assign development activities to users who haven't yet demonstrated competency, surfacing learning recommendations based on real capability gaps, and supporting targeted mentoring or coaching programs. Now, we'll talk a little bit about competency and skills. That's why there's a slash here. So we'll get to that in a little bit. And of course, design and user experience improvements. So the rule sets are clearly separated here and better understood, better explained. So it's an improvement. It's better for administrator, less risk of mistakes, and clearer interface. Now, when we say LMS, we say also mobile access, because this is something that people rely on a lot. And one of the things that is very helpful with the mobile Totara app, well, first of all, it comes at no additional cost or setup. You just download the app and use it. And then second, you could also use it in situations where the internet connection is limited. So you have the ability to download the course, and you have the ability to access content offline. There's a better catalog approach as well with the filters, the search as you type, and then the results will appear as you type as well, and progress indicators on courses. So with the offline access, you have the ability to download the entire course and select activities to take offline. And then the progress is stored on your device and not synced until you have internet connection. You could also turn on and off the automatic synchronization. So if you're running on limited data, you don't want the app using all your data. Maybe you want to use it for maps or how to call someone if you're in distress. So you can turn it off, and then once you have internet again, you can turn it on or manually synchronize your progress. That will be sent to the server, and your progress will be recorded on your profile online. And of course, you have the ability to remove any downloaded content from your device at any point in time. So that way you're not taking all the space with courses that you've completed and you don't need on your device. And in this version as well, there are new types of supported files. So we're talking about PDFs, Words, PowerPoints, text, Excel, MP4, so videos, images, and zip files. The certificates activities are supported. The page and label activities as well, or resources, are supported. Overall, it's a smoother learning experience. It really helps the users pick up where they left off and have a more synchronous learning process between the desktop or the web-based platform and the mobile-based access. There was a cleanup on the technical side of things. There was a cleanup of any legacy SCORM caching logic. If you use SCORM a lot in the past decade, you know what I'm talking about. There is a lot of cached content that sometimes breaks the experience. So that's very helpful. And that's essentially what comes with the mobile app this year. Again, it's consistent with the overall logic of Totara version 20. We're not talking about huge radical features. We're talking about small improvements that really overall improve the user experience and the Totara experience. Now, AI, of course. So this is where we talk about what's new in Totara 19.1 and Totara 20. The AI features are part of the 19.1 onwards. They have to be enabled, though, by the administrator, so in this case, us. And you can decide which features to turn on and which features are available to your users, and if you want to extend them to every user or just the administrator. So by design, they are just available for administrators, and you can have more users take advantage of them. So the AI in Totara is using the OpenAI API, if that makes sense. And it is possible to use different LLMs. You have to go through a partner like us to implement it. I won't go into too many details with that. It's just important to note that all AI interactions are scoped to the specific site and user. So that means that Totara uses the features of OpenAI, but does not share or retain any inputs or outputs, or does not use any content or data to train any models. So Totara doesn't do that. OpenAI doesn't do that through the use of your Totara AI modules. Markanyx doesn't do that. So this is different from when you're using, open platforms like ChatGPT or other public-facing platforms that, they essentially use your data to train their models. This is not the case in your LMS system. Just something to say that you can rest assured if you're using any of these features. Now, what we're looking at here is the writing assistant. So if you have great ideas and maybe you're having a hard time putting those ideas into words or producing an eloquent text, then this is a great tool for you. You can ask it to generate a course outline about leadership in the workspace, and then you can fix it or insert it as is, or you can change your prompt, regenerate, and see if you're happy with that. So this is happening through an editor. It's an HTML editor, and then it has this sparkling icon here. And once you click on it, you have the different AI features that you could use. So this is the icon I was referring to. Now, this is the writing assistant, but we'll see that if we move forward, we can see the Weka editor is basically the editor that we're looking at here. It's an HTML editor or also a WYSIWYG editor. So what you see is what you get, and that allows us to generate all this text, images, and summaries. So summary generation is also a cool feature where it allows you to summarize content. If you paste text, and then it will help you summarize it to have a better, maybe eloquent text for your course description. The other thing is image generation. Also, you can use it for a course image, but you can also use it for pages or any other areas where you're developing content. So it's the same concept. You generate the image based on your prompt. If you don't like it, you can regenerate based on a different prompt. And the good thing is also it helps you with an alt text. So that's good for accessibility. The AI knowledge check. So this is a feature that helps workspace owners and facilitators quickly generate informal quizzes from uploaded content. So the GIF here will loop and start again, but essentially it allows you to informally test knowledge retained after a course. So you can set up notifications, for example, after a few weeks or a month, inviting learner to join a workspace and then test their retained knowledge by completing the check-in. So this quickly assesses a workspace group's knowledge on certain topics. It helps inform next steps on upskilling. And you can just do so by uploading a PDF, for example, and that will be used to generate a list of questions. And you also have, or allows you to have an aggregated view, highlighting the gaps in the content or the question wording. And then you have all the score here. So this is a very cool feature and AI powered as well. So it really saves you a lot of time. I should really remember to click. All right, so other updates in Totara 20. So our features are also compatible with Totara version 20. So this is a custom report builder that we used for one of our clients. It allows you to generate mentor and mentee relationship with assignments. So mentors can see what their mentees are up to, and if they are late on their assignments. So it shows you the submission status, the due dates, and how many days they're overdue. And it's color-coded, and it's version 20 ready. So that's all we have to say about this one. It's just that the features are compatible and can be used as they are. The other feature that is of version 20 ready is the notification solution. So it allows managers and instructors to blast a broadcast message throughout a course or multiple courses at once. It also allows them to define triggers and templates. So the templates will have dynamic placeholders that are updated when the messages are sent. So the placeholders could be the learner's first name, last name, the course name, the activity name, etc. And then the triggers could have triggers like X days before the activity due date or a specific date. And then it will look like something like this. So you have the ability to choose X days before, enter the number of days, and then exact hour and minute. And then it also takes account of the time zone. And then this is what the template would look like. So you have the full name here, the activity name, the activity URL, and the subject of the email. Now we get to the perform module, and I'm running out of time, so I'll try to go a little faster. So since we were talking about AI just a minute ago, I wanted to cover this point that is an AI feature, but is part of the performance module. So it allows you to create smart goals efficiently. So SMART goals, if you don't know what the acronym is, it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So the you can focus on the AI tool because it has all these things taken into consideration, and it's faster. You can still do it manually if you wanted to, but you could use the AI generator, and it will save time. You can also edit them, of course, as with any AI generated content before saving, and that's very time saving. Now, the other thing in Perform is we're ditching the word competency. Now we're using skills. So this essentially helps with aligning the terminology with current language in HR and in L&D. It also increasingly centers the strategy analytics around skilling and upskilling instead of competency and not competent or non-competency. So it is better for the language that is being used. And it also important to know that often competencies suggest behavioral assessment frameworks or compliance-based training. Skills resonate more with a wider range of initiatives, career development, internal mobility, and skill-based hiring. So this makes essentially Totara more versatile, adapting with different industries and use cases. So one of the good things we have here is that besides all the different naming changed and all the skills framework now being better adapted to the current framework or the current work market. You have the pop-up that we used to have before is not there anymore. Now we have a slide out, which is better for usability. You still have the main view here, and then on the side you have the rating model that's gone, and you have the rating slide out essentially. It includes contextual information required for a rater to be sure what they're selecting and what they're doing on this specific view. You could also now have an audience rate a skill manually instead of having to assign by person. So that streamlines the usage of the skills and of the rating as well. Team skills proficiency. So what we're looking at here is a team skill proficiency report where manager previously had to drill into multiple reports for individual employee skill profiles to understand team strengths and weaknesses. This is different now. So if you use competencies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We won't be using competencies anymore. We're using skills, and we're using the newly added reports. So this comes with a block as well. So the flow has improved, allowing managers to get an at-a-glance overview of where their teams are at, either meeting skill requirement or where there are gaps and where they need to take action. All of this with less clicks and less overhead. So this consolidation really saves time and reduces blind spots as well. And we can see here that every skill, we can see every skill and how many people are proficient in the skill. So if I make it a little bigger here, you can see that embracing change has 2 out of 3 users that are efficient. And we can see the overall proficiency or non-proficiency for the skills that we have in the system. Now, where did I go? Sorry. Okay. Manager focused block. So on this slide, we're drilling into the embrace change skill, and we can see more details at a glance, including a quick summary of all the learners assigned to the skill, and for each learner, the current value and the target. Of course, we can sort, filter, and choose how many items we can display per page here. This is the filter, and we can sort by the latest proficient or other items as well. So this essentially helps the managers know what they're looking for and how to find it. The skill gap reporting, because this is a new aggregation-friendly columns for is proficient and is not proficient report, and it allows graphical comparisons. The new column names are also linked to the skills profile. Again, if you've been using this, you know how very helpful this can be, because you don't have to click many times and find yourself in the wrong view. So this is actually very game changer, very much a game changer. So this is also available as a template report, so you can use it. You don't have to build it from scratch, and you can change it, add columns, remove columns, use the graph and the charts to help visibility and reporting. All right, so what other updates are available as part of version 20? So first of all, we have the multi-factor authentication that is now expanded to all users. That was before only restricted to administrators. You can now have automatically removed mandatory date and time fields that are empty by default. So users are prompted to select a value before submission, and report builders run in the background. So if you have complex or performance hungry reports, they are running in the background. They're not blocking you from using the site, and they are queued. So this essentially manages the performance of the site and the resources you have. And then once the reports are finished from running, you get a notification, and you have them exported for you. The user profile page now has a hint on the status, active, suspended, or deleted. So you don't have to click one more time on the user or see the user list and look for the icon. It's really helpful. You see the user, you know their status. And in the perform, you have the automatically a removal of access to performance activities on role change. So this is very important for privacy and data access policies. So this is done automatically now. You don't have to look for it. So what we're talking about here is it allows users to or administrators to set once and forget, because this is taken care of automatically and providing any security breaches or data privacy breaches. Now, there are some technical updates. I won't spend too much time on these items, but essentially what we're talking about is an improved integration rate and better API management with the possibility to integrate with third-party software better, faster, and stronger. Now, to summarize in a few words, what is Totara 20? It comes with AI features to optimize time with AI text and image generation, smart goal assistant, and engagement trends on course programs and certification suggestions. It comes with compliance upgrades for audit readiness. We're talking about multi-year certifications, multi-pass certifications. We're talking about clearer reporting for expiries, completions, and follow-ups, and stronger evidence and activity trail for audits. We're simplifying and streamlining the skills across the platform and the skill gap reporting analysis, and this is happening at the individual and the team levels. So we also have subtle but very helpful and overall significantly helpful UI UX improvements in many areas of the website or of the Totara platform, either on mobile or on web-based, and enhanced mobile experience. So it's important to know that your feedback are driving the changes. A lot of the features and many of what we've seen today has been requested by Totara users and or Totara partners. And we spoke about the competency proficiency or the skills proficiency as a rule set for dynamic audiences. We spoke about the two-factor authentication and the sorry, the QR code for attendance. So these are all features that were requested or backed by partners. What to look for next in the next versions. So this year we'll have 20.1, 20.2, and 20.3. And we're not given any dates yet, but these are things that you might see in the next minor versions or in the next major version 21 in 2027. So more AI, of course, for AI-powered course creation, our AI assistants such as Copilot or ChatGPT, more UX, UI improvements to certifications, programs, and across the whole Totara platform, and modernization of email sending from Totara. So I won't say too much about that, but it will help people who use notifications, which is practically everybody who uses Totara. So it'll be much more streamlined and easier and better. With all that, what are the features that you like the most? What are the features you would like to see in the coming version? Please share your feedback with us. It matters. It helps us improve. It helps Totara improve. And you can do it now. You could scan the QR code. You could throw your questions on the Q&A. Feel free to reach out to us. We can move on to the Q&A. We have a few minutes to go through that. And you could also connect with us later. I'm leaving this slide here with our email, website, and the QR code that you can scan. And you can reach us through LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, email, Facebook, X. We're out there, and we love to hear from you. So I'll see if we have any questions. Let's go back here. Sorry if I was moving too fast. Are there any questions I can answer? Wasn't looking much. All right. If we need regional administrators per province or site or state, can Totara restrict them to only their respective areas? Yeah, absolutely. So, very good question. This can be done in a couple of ways. So essentially, you have multi-tenancy, which I didn't speak about in this webinar, but when you have multiple regional sites or states or provinces, then you can assign each province, for example, to a tenant, and then the tenant manager will only oversee that tenant. So what we're talking about here is multi-tenants living within one shared space. The main administrator or the big administrator, the mother organization, will see everything, and then the tenant managers and the people at the head of the tenants will only see their their areas only. So that's a multi-tenancy question. Very helpful. Thank you. You could also use audiences, by the way. So every audience is assigned to a tenant, and then that also helps with workflows down the road. Can you synchronize users and organization structures from the HR system automatically? Yeah, absolutely. So I spoke about it very briefly, maybe for 2 seconds, about human resource information systems. But we say HR systems, but really it's any system that has an API we can connect to. We can link and pull data and push data thanks to the web services and to the API that's available out of the box with Totara. So yes, and there's another tool called HR import. So that could link to your HR system, and you could define beforehand which information you're pulling from the system and how is that impacting your Totara data, basically. So what is the minimum setup recommended for a small team? The minimum setup. Okay, so my understanding is you're referring to how much time and resources you need to set up the team. I think with every case it's different. What's important here is to really try to map out the workflows you have, or the processes you have to digital workflows. So what will happen essentially is we'll have a chat, we'll have a talk, we'll ask you what is the user journey, how do you want the learner to go through the site, and what experience do you want them to go through? Are they choosing which courses they're taking, or are you assigning them manually to certain courses? Are they assigned automatically based on dynamic audiences? So these are questions we would have to go through. I think that's the minimum setup. The minimum is really to have a really comprehensive and clear discovery, and that will allow you to set up a platform that is efficient. And there is no really difference with a small team or a big team. It's really about the experience you want to offer the users. So you could have a team of 80 users, but you have very different and complex workflows. Or you could have a team of 500 users, and then they all have to do this one certification with 3 courses in it. So it really depends on your case. Timeline. Yeah. So it's just, it comes down to the same question realistically. So when we're talking about typical implementation timelines, it could be 4 days if the process is simple and really not that complicated, or it could take weeks and months if we're talking about complex certification rules, audiences, linking with skills and skill rating and approval. So there is no defined timeline. It really depends on your setup. So ideally, you want to have a conversation with your team, and you want to look at what is needed to be implemented in terms of processes. And then that's where we intervene. We help you, streamline those processes, maybe sometimes improve them. And if there are any redundancies, we will try to detect that and reduce it, and then translate them into digital workflows. And that's what actually Totara does best. It's just cutting that redundancy or repeated tasks or non-automated tasks, and then we try to have them on the platform. So it makes the work of managers, administrators, and learners more efficient, and with less clicks, less overhead, and enhanced reporting, of course. Can managers see their team's progress without giving them too much admin power? Yeah, absolutely. They don't actually need to give them any admin power. Managers see their team's progress because that's the role they have. So when you're a team manager, then you see the people you oversee, and then you can look at what they've been doing, how they're doing on their courses, certifications, on their skills, and if they're compliant, non-compliant. So they don't need to be administrators at all. I think with that last one, we'll conclude it here because we're at the hour. And if you have any questions, please follow up on the QR code. You can send us any emails. You could also log in and not log in, but check in with us through our social media platforms. We're also going to release this recording. So if you register for this webinar, you'll receive it by email. Otherwise, it'll be on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for following us today, and have a great rest of your day.